Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for sparing your time to watch our presentation. We are from Group 3. Let me introduce ourselves. My name is Muhammad Benaidi Sirafat and my group partner is Muhammad Ranggarantis, Muhammad Iqbal, M. Zaki Ramdhani, Muhammad Rian Sibrani, and Muhammad Azam Al-Farizi. Yes, it sounds like we are family just from our name. By the way, let's take a look at the picture. What do you guys see? Yes, the coronavirus. And the purpose of our presentation today is to discuss how the pandemic affects the world, especially in immigration. As we know, the coronavirus has spread rapidly, which has caused the status of the world to change to a pandemic. This hasn't only changed how people work, but also affect economies around the world. The spread of the coronavirus has reached Indonesia and caused various reactions. Indonesia seems to be made weak and helpless and unable to rise up to face the pandemic, which has reached over 140,000 confirmed cases. As a result of the entry of the pandemic, several countries implemented lockdown, which of course prioritized the existence of a security system. Indonesia has also done something similar by establishing a policy called large-scale social restriction, or what we call here as PSBB. However, this also affects the development of public policy that is happening in Indonesia at this time. Almost all ministries are implementing a new policy. One of the policies issued by Indonesia Immigration at this time about the temporary prohibition of foreigners from entering the territory of the Republic of Indonesia. This also certainly supports Indonesia's capability in dealing with the pandemic. However, the problem is that currently happening certainly raise several perspectives within the scope of government in the absence of the same vision and the mission regarding the handling of this case. This is evidenced in the CIQ, Custom Immigration and Quarantine Work Pattern, which until now still plays as first layer to avoid the coronavirus. Which in a case, if there is a flight going out and into the territory of Indonesia, Immigration and Custom must wait for a recommendation letter from the quarantine to check the status and travel document that the person is using and what item they're using. Then, what caused this to happen? Of course, because there's no health protocol that is implemented in the CIQ. These three government agencies have different control and scope of duties, but in response to the current problem, the provision of policy regulation on security healthy must be the top priority in all existing aspects, so that safety should be observed and applied from today. To give you a better understanding of security healthy, you can see the picture on the slide. Okay, this presentation will be divided into three parts. First, we'll begin by general explanation. Secondly, we'll explain how CIQ faced the pandemic. And finally, the closing section. With that, let's get started by sending it over to Azam.
Thank you, Yudis. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Azam Al-Farizi from Immigration Law, and now I will explain the effect of COVID-19 on airport authorities. The COVID-19 pandemic is a global threat, which almost all countries experiences it. This threat certainly requires a global response. The government certainly have an obligation and take responsible for providing accurate information. Of course, there is a global strategy that is expected to reduce the spread of the pandemic. However, the pandemic created an opportunity to restructure the government way of designing a new life, other than promote the existence of a public policy for healthy, which still prioritizing security system. As a result, border authorities such as quarantine, immigration, and custom agencies or CIQ are also affected due to the emergence of gaps between passenger examination that require health protocols during the pandemic. Talking about CIQ, it is very close to the traffic of people. CIQ is a government agency that has the authority and duty to supervise, regulate, and secure traffic in and out of people in order to uphold the laws and, of course, uphold the authority of the Indonesian government. These three agencies have different mandate and function that are adjusted according to the needs. Countries like Australia, Korea, Taiwan have been proved for handling the pandemic, and even China themselves have their own policies in regulating the handling of COVID-19 airborne. Among these countries, Australia is the most strict about regulation and responses related to handling this pandemic. According to Heidenheimer Comparative Public Policy, is the study of how and why different governments do or don't take an action and what the effect. In a comparison of public policy regarding the handling of the pandemic by CIQ in Australia and Indonesia, how and why did the Australian government prepare such a major policy set regarding the role of CIQ during the pandemic? Or how and why the Indonesia government has not made a complete and comprehensive policy that, quite like Australia, will be analyzed to the security health approach. Australia is a rich and developed country and strong in defense and security. Australian government is making an extraordinary effort in executing its strategy by implementing the use of information technology. Airport is one of the places that have modernization and technological innovation. Australia's readiness for policies regarding the role of CIQ is also supported by the infrastructure owned. Australia has an international reputation for being a model country in dealing with migrants with its policy and regulation. The next discussion will be explained by Iqbal.
Okay, Indonesian government does not have specific regulation and protocols to anticipate the spread of the pandemic. The government also take care this pandemic slowly. That finally Indonesian government should prioritizing security health. For countries that have limited infrastructure such as Indonesia, it faces a dilemma between security and keep the economic needs during the pandemic while still prioritizing public health. The weakness of the government in coordination system make things worse. The situation caused the inability to manage problems needed to face the pandemic. Coronavirus has made Australia tighten its international borders, especially airports. The ban on entering the country's territory came into effect from China on February 1, Iran on February 29, South Korea on March 5, Italy on March 11. On March 15, the Australian minister announced that international borders would be closed and all arrivals must be isolated in advance for 14 days. Then on 7 April, the Australian government closed its border to all types of overseas travel. Border measures such as passengers being asked to wear masks upon arrival. Visa and custom checks also apply physical distancing. Another international border measures is the 15-day self-quarantine policy, which is indicated for all international arrivals. In addition, since early April, Australia has ensured nearly 200,000 visitor visa holders to return to their home countries. Other types of visas, such as the working holiday visa, cannot be extended as paid for holders who work in sector related to COVID-19. Seasonal workers or holders of a special specific labor scheme visa, which are required to maintain a supply of raw material, are granted an extension if they were already in Australia prior to border closure.
Thank you, Iqbal. Upon arrival, all passengers are immediately directed to the health inpatient area. They have to go through a medical check first before doing other checks and picking up their belongings. All passengers arriving from overseas are required to undergo quarantine and must be accommodated within 14 days from the date of arrival in Australia. However, crew members are not required to carry out quarantine, but they must self-isolate at their hotel or residence. Most of the accommodation during quarantine is managed by the state government. Migrants undergoing quarantine will receive transportation from the point of arrival airport to the quarantine facility. In addition, the Australian Health Protection Principal Committee has also declared a human health response zone to support quarantine and self-isolation procedures. In terms of budget provision, the Australian government allocated $131.4 billion for hospitals funding for 5 years going forward as part of the Australian government's National Health Reform Agreement.
Regulatory of Indonesia, airport play important role in managing the health crisis. CIQ screens all incoming and outgoing passengers by prioritizing health and safety procedures in the form of not direct contact with passengers, using an infrared thermometer to check body temperature and providing hand sanitizer in several areas of the airport. CIQ officers also monitor passengers with symptoms, provide routine advice, and conduct health symptoms, including collection and testing of samples as needed. In addition, CIQ officers must routinely report suspect cases to the CIQ central database and local health department or officer for follow-up monitoring, referral treatment, or simply symptoms examination. The security health approach at the airport is actually the protection of national interests and the flow of international migration from infectious diseases from both foreigners and natives. In the context, the inclusion of the health protocols and border security is based on the continued resilience and stability of Indonesian nation. With the creation of one-stop coordination between CIQ and airport authorities, crossing problems during and after COVID-19 will soon enter a new era. In the future, CIQ work implementation seems at this airport must be re-engineered to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Passenger screening and testing should be a key part of passenger processing, screening, and testing. This medical of health record data should be exhibited by CIQ from programmer database so that it can be tracked and followed.
Thank you, Rantis. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Rian Subrani. I'm from Immigration Lobby. I will just continue the presentation. A good coordination between the airport authority and the CIQ should be established to facilitate the process of checking arrivals and departure, including contactless clearance, like AutoGate, face recognition, and many others. Here are some examples of new inspection schemes that can facilitate the problem of crossing during the coronavirus period. In immigration, The travel document checking process must be automated using scanner and biometric technology. The use of contactless technology such as AutoGate, face recognition, and automatic stamp or sticker must be realized for sake of efficiency. In a custom, in the usual procedure, the declaration form is required for the arrival process. The government should reconsider electronic or digital options such as mobile application and QR codes to minimize physical. This can be realized by means of the information contained in the declaration from which can be sent in advance to the government portal or the local authorized agency. In quarantine, thermal screening which function to scan the body temperature must be installed at several points in the QIC area considering the traffic flow is dense and must be screened quickly and inconspicuously to avoid crowds and crowds. With this scheme, the role of CIQ will certainly provide excellent prevention and security related to the prevention of COVID-19 in the airport area. With good coordination, it will further strengthen the performance of CIQ to prioritize responsibility by prioritizing security health. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you for your attention. Stay healthy and don't forget to wash your hands. See you. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.